Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Wilson, and I work in the Office of Service Learning and Civic Engagement. I want to talk to you today about service learning in your course and why this is integrated. As you know, that in order for you to graduate from FGCU, you have an 80-hour service requirement coming in as a first-time enrollment, or 40 hours if you're coming in as a transfer. This is different than what you may have done in high school because this is not volunteerism. This is a little different. This is service learning. So you want to think about, what are you learning from this service? What is the need that you are meeting? So there's a requirement because we know at FGCU we are one of two institutions at the national level that requires this, because it's an opportunity for students to get a career readiness skills, to get real world experience that you can put on your resume. And it's also allowing you to impact the community in a meaningful way. A lot of our students get internships and careers from service learning, and it allows you to determine what you like, but maybe even importantly, what you don't like. If you have always thought you wanted to become a teacher, but you never really actually spent time in a classroom, this is a great opportunity for you to go through your service learning to do those things, to go into a classroom, to serve in that capacity for a nonprofit agency, and realize and make sure that this is something you want to do and that you are in the correct major prior to graduating. So we want to think about, this is an opportunity. This is not something that you have to do, but this is something that you get to do. You can combine all of these things to recreate service learning. We want to talk about all these career readiness skills that you can see. It does help with your communication. It does help with your professionalism. Most likely, you're going to be serving on a team for this. So, really think about how those are going to apply inside your service and how that's going to be then applied to your career. We are doing this as a course based service learning. This means that we're not going to tell you you have to get X amount of hours to get a grade. We want you to think of this as an objective base. So these are the objectives I hope to meet by creating this project, and how many hours it takes to make those objectives happen, to actually achieve those goals that you set for yourself, is how many hours you will actually get. So that's a little different than maybe what you've heard in the past, especially coming maybe from another institution or from high school where you had to get a certain amount of hours per event that you had to do. So again, taking what you love and then turning that into an opportunity. Um, One of the things that you're going to have to do first is to find a community partner. One of the best ways to do this is to attend a service learning fair. The service learning fair for this semester in the fall happens on September 11th from 10 to 2 in Cohen. But it also it gives you a situation where you can find community partners online. So I'm going to share my screen for you so you can see what that looks like. We are going to go into the FGCU main page. And right up here, we're going to type in the words service learning. Once we type on service learning, you will be able to see that the first result you have is service learning and civic engagement. Right here, all the resources for students can be found in this location. There's videos, there's resources for you, but I'm going to show you something called Find a Community Partner. One of the assignments you may have is, who are you going to work with for this semester? And so my job is to help you figure out how to find that. So you can search for a community partner in that way. You can go through the agency list. You can do it alphabetical. You can also search for a particular partner that you may have an idea for, or you can go to advanced search. You can then specify it by county in which you want to go to, a category, or what I like to use. So for example, you could use FGCU campus if you want to do on-campus opportunities, especially for those of us who may have transportation issues, or you can do it for sustainable development goal. So if you really want to work with life below water because you're interested in that because of your passion or your career, you can hit search agencies and it will bring up the areas that people have said this is what they do for life below water. You can play around with that in a variety of ways. The other thing that you can do through the service learning website is to click on Eagle Link. Eagle Link will be an opportunity for you. It's like an online a service learning posting. They have job postings as well, but we're going to be looking at service learning opportunities. You can look at all of them by date, But you could also use this search events narrow your scope into things that you might be interested in. So for example, if I'm interested in social media, I could type in social media and find all the social media types of opportunities that are available to me. I can also search over here if I only want to do something virtual because I'm a virtual student or I don't have the capacity to drive. You'll see this as well for virtual opportunities. So that is really a neat opportunity for you to do. On the main service learning webpage as well, once you go into student resources, there are a lot of different things that you can do to find some information. One of the big things that we can do for you is to teach you how to track your hours. If you click on how to track your hours video guide, there is a YouTube video that goes through that whole process. So you know that two-step process inside and out, and there's also a Word version of that. Everything you do to track your hours is all done through the Eagle Service Network, which is all explained in that video. So hopefully you'll understand that a little bit as we go along. Another thing that you want to talk about as we really consider your service learning opportunities here at FGCU is really just exploring what you're passionate about and finding partners that align with those passions. You want to make sure when you reach out to community partners that you're professional, you're courteous, you are greeting them in a way that shows that you have some job readiness skills, you are giving them a timeline. You may also want to CC your group mates or your professor in that. And then I always like to give them a reference of what you're working on and your timeline, because that's always nice. Another thing to consider is that you are not the expert in this field. They are. So one of the big areas to think about is when you go to meet these community partners, your job is to say, what are your needs? Your job is not to say, here's what I want to do. Your job is to listen and think about what are your needs that you have and how can we work together to most benefit their needs. You can absolutely do research. You can absolutely have a really good idea. And I want you to have a good idea of what this partner does and what are their needs in the community, because from basic research, you can find that out. But your job when you go into those places is not to be the expert. Your job is to listen. And if you're especially working in groups, make sure that you are making sure that that happens all the time. Next question is, what type of service can we do? Here is a handy dandy guide to explain that. There are 4 types of service and they are all different. There's direct service, indirect service, advocacy, and research. You may have objectives. You may have to come up with 3 objectives for your course. Maybe those objectives for your project is that you have a direct goal, you have an indirect goal, and you may have a research goal or an advocacy goal. You don't have to do all of these buckets. These are different buckets for different needs for the partner. If the partner needs for you to physically come in person and serve in the way that you are at a food pantry and you are physically packing and going out to the community and giving food, that is a direct service. You are directly impacting and interacting with those individuals or those animals. Indirect service is kind of like behind the scenes, right? Behind the scenes, where you may be creating a social media campaign for that community partner or marketing materials. Advocacy allows you to create awareness. So that could include tabling, that could include recruitment for an event, recruitment of volunteers, going out and helping them with legislation and grants. And the final one is research. Do they have data that needs to be collected and analyzed? Is there something that they need that you can do to serve that need? So there are a lot of buckets, and it's not just a hands-on opportunity. We have a lot of opportunities here at FGCU. One of the ways to make it successful is for you to be able to track your hours. You are responsible. Your faculty member is not responsible, and your community partner is not responsible. You are responsible to set up your record in the very beginning, track the hours, and then at the very end of your service, put those hours into Eagle Service Network. Please make sure that you have evidence. If you say that you did 40 hours of something and your professor or the community partner says, let me see what you did for those 40 hours, please make sure that you're correctly tracking that. You are, again, to track the hours in Eagle Service Network. And of course, in spring, we have a wonderful event, Community Engagement Day at EagleX. Finally, if you have a chance, you can follow FGCU Service Learning on any of these platforms. You can see all the different opportunities we have. And we hope that you can stop by if you ever have a question in the Service Learning office. We were upstairs in McTurnigan, 229. And we also want to make sure that you have a question from a faculty member. They are there to answer your questions. And if they don't know the answer, they will contact us to make sure that they do. Please know that we wish you nothing but success in your service learning career and that we are here to support you. Go Eagles.